Okay. So since that there are several, there's some of one or two participants here who are sick for the retreats such as this, which is so the precious and very sacred. There are bound to be obstacles coming here and there. So what we do is that after taking the refuge from page 7, we'll recite, say, 2 mantras. Three mantras. Om Ye Dharma 7 times. Then Tyatom Gate Gate 7 times. And then Om Shri Ti Viti Ta Na Na Hom Pe 21 times. So this mantra is particularly to clear the obstacles, should there be any. In fact, nobler the work that you're doing, the more the obstacles they are going to be. So to make sure that who are already sick, they recover soon, and who are not sick, they don't become sick. Okay, this is what we're going to do. Because when something of this kind is happening, if you think very carefully, for myself as well, for each one of you, we see the inner life, this is the greatest meaning. This is the greatest meaning. So because of which, what is the greatest of the meaning? More the obstacles. Say, the burglars, they break in the rich house, not the poor house. Right? So when we do something good, then the burglars are bound to come to break us, to create disasters. So therefore, let us pray, let us dedicate the merits and so forth, and accumulate more merit, that obstacles don't come. Who are already sick, they recover soon, and who are not sick, they don't become sick. So this is what we're going to do. Page 7. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sanye jo da zoge jo nam la, chanjo bardo dane gyabsu chi, tage jinso gebe so nam ge, dola benjir sanje rubarai sho. Sanye jo da zoge jo nam la, chanjo bardo dane gyabsu chi, tage jinso gebe so nam ge, dola benjir sanje rubarai sho. Sanje choda soge cho namla, chanjo bardo dane gyabsuch, tage jinso gebe so namge, chola benjir sanje rubarai sho. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of causes as well is taught by the great seer. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava Hetum te shantatha gato hyavatat desham nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava Hetum te shantatha gato yavatat desham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava Hetum te shantatha gato yavatat Desham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma prabhavam hetum te shantatha gato yavatat desham chayo nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramanaye Swaha. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha. Evam Vati Mahashramanaye Swaha. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha. Evam Vati Mahashramanaye Swaha. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetum Tesham Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha. Evam Vati Mahashramanaye Swaha. Teyatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha. Teyatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha. Teyatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha. Teyatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha. Teyatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha. Teyatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha. Teyatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha. Okay, and the mantra which we're going to recite, which is Om Shri Ti Vidita Nana Hompet. This is the mantra of the deity, which is Shri Vajrabhairava, the manifestation of Adamajishri. Adamajishri, who in turn is the manifestation of the Buddha's, the divine wisdom. Okay, so for that matter, we recite the Bodhisattva mantra, and as keep in mind, the purpose is for us to make sure that the obstacles are cleared related to the retreat that we are undertaking, and those who are already sick, let us pray that they get well soon, and then the other obstacles come in the way to our continuing this practice. Okay, first the mantra of Buddha Shakyamuni, a very compassionate teacher, and so his blessings are really required for all of us. Om Mune Mune Maha Mune Swaha. 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 Om Muni Muni Mahamuni 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 Swaha. Omorite Vitita Nana Hompe. 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 Okay. So meanwhile, while we recite the mantras to clear the obstacles and so forth, meanwhile, I request that each one of us take care of your health. Take care of your health, and make sure that you don't have sleep deprivation. That is very important, and particularly say if the television is there, and just you feel that you are resting, and actually it's not resting, because what we are doing is very intense, right? Say like about 3 classes, which is almost like 5-6 hours, and then plus the group discussions 2 hours, 7-8, then plus the morning practice 2 hours, 9-10. And then evening optional, like 1 hour, 11. So it's quite intense. And this kind of thinking. So usually we are just engaged in one particular work, which you already know so well. Now what we'll be doing is something new and something quite intense. You're bound to, of course, we need lots and lots of rest. And at times we get the feeling that by watching television, it will give us rest. Actually, it's not. And the little time that you get for your rest, even that is stored in a way, right? And then it makes you even more tired. And then finally you feel, and particularly in Singapore, because the facilities are so good, and the tendency that you're more prone to easily get affected by the external factors, like lack of sleep and so forth. Make sure that you take good rest, no sleep deprivation, and food-wise, of course, I don't have to tell you. You know exactly how to take care of the good, nutritious food and so forth. So these are things that you must take care, because we are in a different place. So to tackle your illness and so forth is more difficult here than you're in your own place. So therefore, take utmost care of your health. This is most important thing. Then next comes the puja, recitation, chant, and so forth. These will be secondary. They will help you in a secondary way. So the most important thing is yourself. Take care of your health. That's very important. Okay. So with this, continuing from where we left yesterday about the entities and the isolates. Entities and isolates. So this is something very likely very new concept to many of you. Entities and isolates. Okay. So generally speaking, entities. What is meant by entities? What is meant by isolate? And keep in mind that, say, the language, what we are conversing, with what language we're conversing is English language. So, English language, it has its own meaning in various shades. Say, the same word can mean differently in physics, the same word can mean differently in sociology, the same word can mean differently in the linguistics. So we should be very careful and always not try to interpret the words according to your understanding, right? Particularly when we are in a particular context, you must know the context well. So what we are studying is in the context of the Buddhist psychology and Buddhist philosophy according to the mainstream Nalanda tradition. Mainstream Nalanda tradition, which is a very broad, say, a spectrum of system. So we should stick to this. And then later on, if you go to different systems, again, you'll be able to understand the meanings of these words according to whatever tradition or the system that you're following. So here, we are following the mainstream Nalanda tradition. Why I'm saying mainstream Nalanda tradition is oftentimes the vocabularies that we use and that others use, our vocabularies are just identical, the meaning is very different. So therefore we should stick to this, stick to whatever tradition, whatever system that you are working on. So what we're doing here is the mainstream Nalanda tradition. Okay, so in this context, entities, in a broad sense, entities means, last time we learned about impermanent and permanent. You remember that? Impermanent phenomena and permanent phenomena. One. Now on that basis, we also learned compounded and uncompounded. Yes, no? Okay. Impermanent and compounded, these two are synonymous. With impermanent, compounded, and then we also spoke about with substance. So these three we understand as synonymous. Then on the other hand, permanent and what? Uncompounded, and then without substance. These three we see as synonymous. You remember it? Okay, now I will add one thing more. So, substance and no substance. So there, what do you understand by this? Substance on the one hand, and no substance on the other hand. What do you understand by this? Anyone who likes to share your thought? Anyone? Don't look for perfection. Don't look for a perfect answer. Just give your thought from what you've learned yesterday. From what you've learned yesterday, and it may not necessarily be the case that you have to have the proper wordings, right? Anything that comes to your mind of your understanding, you can speak out. Anyone? What is meant by substance? Something of substance. Anyone? Okay, something like object, a solid object, something there. Very good. Anyone else? Something tangible. Very good. Anyone else? Something made of particles. Very good. Anyone else? Okay, very good answers. Very good answers. In fact, okay. Substance. Absence of substance means something which is not tangible, which is not made of particles. There's nothing so solid object as there, right? So this is something of non-substance or permanent. In other words, say which of the two, with substance, without substance, which of the two has a greater inclination to exist from the object, and which of the two can exist from this subject, from the object which is the true, with the substance. Without substance, because there's no substance there from the object, it should come from the subject. You're getting it? Coming from the subject, now we're going to use the word technical term. We're going to use the technical term. Coming from the subject, let's say subjectively existent. subjectively existent. Now in this line, we also say subjectively imputed. Right? Subjectively existent, subjectively imputed, meaning your mind gives a label to this. From the object there's nothing there, your mind gives a label. So subjectively imputed, subjectively designated, these two mean the same. You're getting it? Now from this we can deduce, in a very loose sense, still in a very loose sense, we can deduce that the permanent phenomena, which is without substance, which is uncompounded, they are coming from the subject or from the object. Which of the two? The permanent and impermanent, which of the two is more prone to objective existence? Compounded. And which one is more prone to coming from the subject, from the mind? Uncompounded or the permanent phenomena. You're getting it? Okay, don't forget this. With this, now I'd like to add one thing more. Right? Now for the compounded, I'd like to add entities. Entities means something which has a solid entity there, the substance there, compounded, impermanent. So now we have what? Compounded, then impermanent, and then substance and entity. Right? We're going to add one more. Now on the other side, we have uncompounded, absence of substance, permanent, and isolates. Instead of entities, we will have the isolates. Right? So now let's see isolates. When you just isolate per se, when you speak about isolate, you think about permanent phenomena. Okay, some of you may be wondering, how is this word isolate fits there, right? How is this word isolate fits in there to describe the permanent phenomena? Okay, so this will come a little later, don't worry. So for the time being, let's say isolate refers to the permanent phenomena, entity refers to the impermanent phenomena. Keep this in mind. Now I like to go a little further to speak about same. Okay, let's say. Okay, let's say. Okay. Okay. How many things are there in my hand? Hey, you are not philosophers. Don't think that you are philosophers, right? Okay. How many things are there in my hand? In my left hand? Nothing. How many things are there in my left hand now? One. What is that thing? A flower, right? Don't change your mind. Right? Okay, you said there's one thing. That is flower. Okay. Tell me, in my hand, the color of the flower, does it exist or not? Color of the flower, does it exist or not? Color of the flower, is it the flower or not? It is not. So the flower is in my hand, yes, no? The color of the flower is in my hand, yes, no? Yes. Which means these two are not one. Flower and the color of the flower, these two are different, yes? Yes, no? Different means these two should be minimum two. It should not be one. There should be two. Different means two different things. So there should be two things. How many things are there in my hand? Now you change your mind? Two or one? Two. Right? If you say two, then I give you $1 and I'll say $2. Right? Because they right? I give you $1 and then how much money you want? I need $2. And then I give you $1, say this is $2. Because there's only one thing and you are saying that there are two things. So I give you $1 and you have to say that there are $2. Right? So this goes against the conventionality, right? And you buy a biscuit from the shopkeeper. You ask him, how much is this? And the shopkeeper says what? Shopkeeper says, $20. And then you give just $1, $10, and said, I have given you 2 10 notes. Right? 2 10 notes. And the shopkeeper says, there's only one note. No, there are two isolates. There are two isolates, right? Then he will say, please get out. I have no time. Get out to mental hospital. Right? So therefore, when we say there are two things, there's a problem. It contradicts with the conventional norms. If you say one, it contradicts with reality. That there's a flower there, there's a color of the flower there, both are there. And these two are not one, these two are different. Different means more than two or more. So there should be two. If you say two, there's a problem. If you say there are two things, what's the problem? It contradicts with the conventional norm. If you say one, there's a problem. What's the problem? It contradicts with the rational reasoning. It contradicts with the logic. Right? So, what to say? How many things are there? One or two? Okay, now, if you want to resolve this issue, no, there's one, and others say there's two. There's one. This will never be resolved. So it depends on whoever has a more physical muscle, right? He wins or she wins. Now, if you really want to resolve it wisely, you have to know the oneness and differentness. Oneness and differentness, entity-wise, oneness and differentness, isolate-wise. You're getting it? If you know this concept, this problem can easily be solved so clearly without any problems. Okay, so what is oneness and differentness? Oneness and differentness can be understood. Whether this flower and the color of the flower, these two are different, there's an issue. So this issue will be resolved if you know oneness and differentness and on two different levels. Oneness and differentness, entity-wise. Oneness and differentness, isolate-wise. On the entity-wise, on the isolate-wise level. What do you mean by entity-wise, isolate-wise? Okay, so let us not mix this concept with the entities and isolate in the form of compounded and uncompounded. Let us not mix that with that. For the time, what we do is that when you look at this flower, is there a flower there in my hand? How do you know that there's a flower there? Your mind could see this. Your mind could see this. So the flower becomes your mind's object, and your mind becomes the flower's subject. So there's an interplay between the object and the subject, right? The flower becomes your object, and your mind becomes the subject of the flower. In other words, your mind becomes the subject, and the flower which you're looking at becomes your object. You're getting it? Okay, subject and object. Now, when you say that, say, okay, the flower, where's the flower? Is there. Correct or not correct? Where's the color of the flower? Is there. Correct or not correct? Okay. Now, when we speak about oneness and differentness, by going towards the object, and oneness and difference of the flower and the color of the flower by going towards the subject. Going towards the object and going towards the subject. When you go to look for the oneness and differentness by going towards the object, you're looking for the entity-wise one or different. By entity meaning object. When you go towards the object to look for oneness and the differentness of the flower and the color of the flower, you are looking for what? Oneness and differentness, entity-wise. Whereas when you look for oneness and differentness of the flower and the color of the flower towards the subject, then you are looking for the oneness and differentness, isolate-wise. Right? When you go towards when you look for the same object, towards the same object, what is that object? Oneness and differentness of the. Okay, tell me, the color of the flower and the flower, are these two one or different? Okay, this is what we are going to explore, right? Earlier you said one. No, earlier you said what? You said two. And before that you said there's only one thing in my hand, right? So, now with this, okay, listen, this is very important. One, whether the flower and the color of the flower, are these two one or different, we have to understand this on object level and on the subject level. When you go to look for whether these two are one or different, on the object level you are looking for what? Oneness or differentness, entity-wise. Entity-wise meaning when you go towards the object. When you go towards the subject, you are looking for the oneness, differentness on isolate level, isolate-wise. You're getting it? Okay, let's say the flower and the color of the flower. Let's say the flower and the color of the flower. Okay, now how do we go towards the object? Right? Let's say you ask me, where's the flower? The flower is here. Correct or not correct? Did I go towards the object or did I go to the subject when I say like this? Object. Which means you are looking for entities, not the isolate, right? When you go to this object. Okay, where's the flower? Is here. And then you ask me second question, where's the color of the flower? I go say, it's here. Correct, no correct? Both are correct. But I pointed to the same object for the reference of the two labels. I pointed to the same object for the reference of the two labels. Say one the flower, one the color of the flower. You're looking for the reference. Where's the flower? Is there. Reference is here. Where's the color of the flower? Is there. I'm looking for the reference of the two labels, but I pointed to the same object. So when I go towards the object, I point to the same object. This is known as entity-wise. Entity-wise meaning going towards the object, entity-wise. The color of the flower and the flower, these two are same because I pointed to the same object. Now, when I go towards the subject, instead of going towards the object, if I go towards the subject, then you are looking for not entities, you're looking for the isolates. Isolate-wise one or different. Okay, how can we go towards the subject to look for the flower and the color of the flower to see whether these two one are different? Okay. Okay, for this we need to meditate. Okay, sit up. Sit up properly. Right? Where to meditate for to get what? To get with on the subject, isolate on this isolate level to see whether the flower and the color of flower, these two are one or different. You're getting it? Okay, now tell me. Say the flower and the color of the flower, likewise the table and the top line of the table. Right? Likewise the table and the top line of the table. Okay, let's see. Table and top line of the table. Okay, right? Are you ready? Don't close your eyes. Look at me. Right? Okay. Same. First let me go table and the top line of the table. Table and top line. We go to look for the entity. To look for the entity, where should we go? Towards the object, towards the subject? Towards the object. Then you ask me, where is the table? I say, it's here. Correct, not correct? Then you ask me, where's the top line of the table? I say, it's here. Correct, not correct? Okay. So which means entity-wise, the table and the top line of the table, these two are one. Very good. Now the table and top line of the table, we have to see whether these are one or different on the isolate level. For that matter, what should we do? Go to the object or subject? Subject. For which we have to meditate. Subject means your mind. You have to meditate. Right? Okay, let's meditate. Right? Sit upright properly. Okay, this is going to be a very serious meditation. Sit upright. Okay, think of a table. Hey, don't look at me. Think of a table. Okay, now open your eyes. Now close your eyes. Think of the top line of the table. Okay, open your eyes. Tell me. The table and the top of the table, when you think, these two appear to your mind as different or as same? Wow. How different? Anyone? How different? Anyone? Quick. Okay. Top line of the table is just a flat thing. Table of legs, top line plus the legs. So these are very different. In your mind, these two are very different. You agree with me or not? Good. On the object, when you go towards the object, I point to the same object, right? Table is here. Top line of the table is here. I point to the same object. When you go towards the object, it's the same. When you go towards the subject, these two are very different. These two appear as different. You're getting it? So, when you go towards the subject, you are going on the entity level. No, isolate level. On the isolate level, the table and the top line table, these two are different. Entity-wise, these two are same. You're getting it? You get it? Okay, now tell me. Okay, I'll give you some illustrations and you decide whether entity was one or different. Right? Okay. Otherwise, I will ask you questions and you give me the illustrations. Can you give me an example of what is entity-wise one? Very quick. Anyone? Quick. Give me an example of what is entity-wise one. Okay, yes, Gehsi-la. Well, it's a flower, right? Okay, so that is entity was one. Okay, can you think of entity was different? Quick. Table? Table and a chair. Very good. Okay, another example? Very quick. Cup and the plate. Or tell me, cup and the plate. What makes you think that these two are entity-wise different? Anyone? It's the correct answer, but I want reason. Okay. Always try to stick to the definition, right? If you try to give your own reasons, no harm. But later on, when you're pushed towards a more nuanced, ambiguous thing, then you will get lost. Always stick to definition. The definition is not really definition as such, it's more like a meaning. So there, what I said was, entity-wise different means when you go to the object, when you go to point to the object, we have to point to two different objects. That is entity-wise different. Entity-wise one is, when you go towards the object, we point to the same object for the reference of the different labels. That is entity-wise one. So this is how we understand. Okay, right? When you go to, entity-wise different. When you go to pinpoint to the object, to look for the reference of the labels, we have to point to two different objects. We have to point to two different objects. These two are entity-wise different. Okay, let me say this again. When we go to pinpoint to the object, if we have to point to two different objects, for the reference of the labels, these two are entity-wise different. For example, say the roof, the ceiling, and the floor. Ceiling and the flower. Where's the ceiling? Is up there. The flower is here, right? We have to point to two different objects. So these two are entity-wise different. Okay. Entity-wise same. We go to pinpoint to the object, and then we can point to one object. We can point to one object for the reference of different labels. We point to one object that is known as entity-wise one. For example, say the flower and the color of the flower. Where's the flower? Is there. Where's the color of flower? Is there. We point to the same object. You getting it? Okay. Yes, Vina?
Just now you asked for example of one entity.
One entity.
The answer was Geshe-la.
Yeah.
Because Geshe-la is only one object, we must compare with another object.
So we do not necessarily compare. As long as you can pinpoint to only one object, that is good enough. Geshe-la is just one object, right? Just pinpoint to one object for the reference of that object, that's fine. Whereas if you have to pinpoint to two objects, then it becomes entity-wise different.
For entity-wise one, it must be entity-wise one.
Yes.
So it's Geshe-la and the roots of Geshe-la.
This is very different. Entity-wise different. Say me and my body. These two are entity-wise one. Me and my body, these two are entity-wise one.
My point is when say Geshe-la.
Okay, yes, I understand it. I understand. So always stick to the definition. The definition, in a loose sense, definition that I gave is that when you go to pinpoint to the object, and if you pinpoint to only one object for the reference of the labels. I do not say different labels. I say for the label with bracket, S. Label or labels. If you can point to only one object, then that is entity one. Whether it's one label, two labels, 100 labels, it doesn't matter. Right? Okay.
Geshe-la, may I ask you, for example, is it like quality, the quality of flower, right, like pink, right? So when we say then one entity, then two isolates, right? Then for example, when Jay say that Geshe-la, I say maybe Sangha. So Geshe-la.
So Geshe-la and Sangha. So these two are entity-wise same, isolated-wise different. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
What if we can't point to the object?
Okay.
Because
Okay. Anyway, what if we cannot point to the object? That's also a good idea. What examples do we have?
Geshe-la, I can't point.
Yeah, we can point here. It's here. So now, if you cannot point to Geshe-la, then it's time for you to. Oh, that's very dangerous. Sometimes the philosophers become eccentric, right? Sometimes the philosophers they become eccentric. Yeah, that's very true. Okay.
What I meant is,
Okay. For the first time, let's go like this. Let's go slowly, right? Then later on, we can become eccentric. It doesn't matter, right? Okay. Yeah.
What about if we point to the same, like the photo frame and His Holiness in the photo frame?
Okay.
Pointing to the same thing, but it actually amplifies the visual.
Okay, that's good idea. I should be in day 1 and day 10 both simultaneously, right? Okay, first let us go like this. First let me carry on. This is a good point, right? So our point is, first let us try to understand what is meant by entity-wise one, entity-wise different, isolated-wise one, isolated-wise different. Once you understand this, try to get the structure of this. Once you get it, then we go into the more detail, right? More detail. And then really complicated issues can come up, right? Okay. So the question is, the picture of His Holiness the Dalai Lama in the frame, right? So the frame and the picture of His Holiness the Dalai Lama in the frame, these two are entity-wise different, but you can point to the same object, right? Okay. So these things can be discussed. So what I would say, okay, if I to quickly give the answer, then we'll go into the main structure. Frame of His Holiness the Dalai Lama's picture and the picture of His Holiness the Dalai Lama inside the frame, the two things, right? When you speak about the frame of His Holiness the Dalai Lama's picture, what do you mean by that? Is that inclusive of His Holiness's picture or is exclusive of His Holiness's picture? This is what you have to decide. Tell me. If it is exclusive, inclusive, then if you take out the picture of His Holiness, then still it should be the frame of His Holiness the Dalai Lama's picture, if it is exclusive, right? Whereas only when the picture of His Holiness the Dalai Lama is there, only then it becomes the picture frame of His Holiness the Dalai Lama's picture, then it's inclusive. It is inclusive, then that becomes the whole, including the picture and external frame, the glass. All three combined together becomes the frame of His Holiness the Dalai Lama's picture. Then all which are its parts, right? They become entity-wise one with the whole. In other words, the whole and the parts, they are always entity-wise one. Whole and the parts, they are always entity-wise one. This hall and the ceiling of this hall, these two are entity-wise one. You're getting it? Okay, we have to explore more. Now, let's say, where is the table? It's here. Correct or not correct? Where's the top line of the table? Is here. Correct, right? I'm looking for the reference of two different labels. The label, table, the label, top line of the table. But I pointed to only one object. Correct or not correct? Okay, so these two are entity-wise one or different? Entity-wise one. Now when we subjectively think, on the isolated level, when we think about these two, the top plank of the table, just the flat one, then the table, the top plank plus the legs, these two appear. In your mind, these two appear as very different. So these two are isolated wise different. You getting it? Asura wise two or asura wise different. Okay, don't forget this. This is very important. Now, okay, tell me. Now give me an example. Which is entity wise one, asura wise different. Okay, this group, then I will ask this group. Okay, group A. Can you give an example of what is entity-wise one and isolate-wise different? Quick. The shirt and the color of the shirt. Very good. The shirt and the color of the shirt. The shirt and the shape of the shirt and the fabric of the shirt. So these are entity-wise one, isolate-wise different. Okay, group B. Can you give an example of entity-wise one, isolate-wise one? Okay, did you hear what I say? Okay, all right. Entity-wise one, isolate-wise one. Photograph. Okay, say, okay, the picture of Buddha. Let's say the picture of the Buddha or the book. Right? Say this is entity was one. Why? Because when you point to the object, we can point to the one object, that's finished. And when you think the book, just one book comes. Right? That is entity was one, isolate was one. Okay. Now, group A. Can you think of entity wise different, isolate wise different? Entity wise different, isolate wise different. Huh? Table and chair. Okay, table and chair. Okay, group B, table and chair. Are these two entity-wise different? Isolated-wise different? Yes, no? Okay, so which means you are correct. They are saying that it's fine. Okay, now let's look for, what is entity-wise one, isolated-wise different? Quick. Entity-wise one, okay, group B. Entity-wise one, isolate-wise different. The cloth and the design of the tablecloth. Okay, did you hear me well? Earlier what I was, entity-wise one, isolated-wise different. That is finished. Now we are doing the opposite. Entity-wise different, isolated-wise one. Very quick. We have no time. Quick. Group B. Hey, group A. Huh? Hey, group B. No, group B. Entity-wise different, isolated-wise one. Very quick. No time, quick. Huh? Three table.
Can it be self? Because self, body, and consciousness, right?
All these things combined together. Can it be self? Because of all these combined together, this entity was different? All these combined together. What? The self? Okay, the self, the table, anyone else? Huh? Group A and group B together, combined together, is there maybe this third example? Okay, Singapore has two examples. Buddha did not find such examples. Right? Singapore found two examples. Wonderful, it's amazing. Buddha could not find example. So, there is no example which is entity-wise different, isolated-wise same. What is entity-wise different should necessarily be isolated-wise different. Keep this in mind. What is entity-wise different is always isolated-wise different. Isolated-wise different may not be entity-wise same. Don't forget it. What is entity-wise different is always isolated-wise different. You're getting it? Okay, this is very important. Don't forget it. Okay. Okay, now let's say, let's do another meditation very quick. Sit up properly. Okay, sit up properly. Okay. Ready? Okay, think of a body. Think of body. Next, think of a ku. No, meditate. Okay, meditate. Don't ask me anything. Meditate. Think of ku. No, I did not ask you to ask any question. Think of ku. Meditate on ku. Why are you not meditating? Okay. Ku is the honorific Tibetan honorific word for body. Right? Okay, now meditate. Meditate on body. Meditate on body. Okay, now open your eyes. Now meditate on ku. Okay, tell me, what's the difference? These two things, when you meditated, these two appear as different or these two appear as same? Same. Although the words are different, although the labels are different, but the referent is just the same, right? So how do you know that the words are different? Because first when I said meditate on body, there's no complaint. When I ask you to meditate on ku, there's a complaint coming up. Actually, it's made the same thing. Because the words are different, you did not understand what the second word means. You getting it? So the words are different, the referent is the same. Right? So ku and the body, these two are entity-wise same. Isolated-wise? Isolated-wise, in your mind, these two appears different? A body is like dull and ku is like very blazing light? No, this is your illusion. It's the same. Right? So isolated-wise same, entity-wise same. Ku and body. Okay. So now the next thing that we need to know is positive phenomena and negative phenomena. Positive phenomena, negative phenomena. Positive phenomena, negative phenomena. Okay. If we want to understand emptiness crystal clear, we have to understand these two concepts. Entity-wise one, isolated-wise one, entity-wise different, isolated-wise different, one. And then what is positive phenomena, negative phenomena? What is negative phenomena? Within negative phenomena, affirming negative, non-affirming negative. This must be crystal clear in your mind. Without these two concepts clear in your mind, your understanding of emptiness is going to be so vague and very dull. And oftentimes you meditate on emptiness, it can create haziness in your mind. Haziness. And at times it can bring headache also. This is a problem for the meditation emptiness. So therefore, only if you have these two concepts very clear, then with the emptiness meditation, you will precisely know where you are going, whether you are really getting emptiness or not. Right? Okay. So tell me now. Same this morning. How many of you were absent this morning? Okay. Amongst those who were absent this morning, tell me how many of you were absent yesterday? Okay, seems like everyone is either yesterday or today here. No, on this morning, in the morning. Good. If you were here yesterday or here for the mornings, then what we suggest, we are talking about, say yesterday we meditated on the emptiness of the flower, the morning, yes? And today, this morning, we meditated on emptiness of the self. Okay. Now let's say, how did we meditate on the emptiness of the flower? First we broke this flower into, no, not really broke. We went into the, say, macro level. We went into the macro level of this flower, into the atomic level. You agree with me or not? Yesterday. And today we went into the 6 elements. So yesterday we went into the atoms. Okay, first we went into the cell membrane, atom. The flower is made of, say, you zoom in through the electron microscope, you see that initially there's no change in the object. Don't alter the object. Just keep it there. Don't even touch the object. Simply keep watching it through electron microscope. Then we see that there is initially say this flower, particularly you look at this flower, is so tender, right? It's so tender that the color combination is so beautiful. But as you go through the electron microscope to the same object, you see that the tenderness disappears. The tenderness of the flower disappears. For example, our hands, our face, all these things, when we subject this to electron microscope, the tenderness will disappear. Then what happens? It becomes, should I say this, not say this? It becomes hairy. Right? What is so tender there? When you subject the electron microscope, you first see it's hairy. Then the earlier feeling of appeal disappears. Quite scary. Then you go further, you see that it's cracky. Right? It's literally cracky. Right? Then you go further, then you start seeing the cells, cell membranes. Cells separated by the membrane, cell membranes. And you go further, zoom in, you'll start seeing the nucleus, the cell membrane, the cytoplasm in between. You further zoom in, you start seeing the mitochondria, chromosomes, and these things inside, right? Okay, let's stop there. So there what we did was that, okay, let's say, okay, we can go further to make it very quick. Say, even the chromosomes, we zoom in further, you will see that chromosome is nothing but made of molecules. And you zoom in further, even the molecules are made of atoms. Right? Okay. So what we see as chromosomes, what we see as the beautiful flower, what we see as cells, these are all just like illusion. But really, if there is something there, even the atoms will also disappear. But let's stop there for the time being. So now imagine, tell me, what are you seeing? You're looking at the same object, but what are you seeing now? Under the electron microscope, what are you seeing now? Billions of atoms. You agree with me or not? Billions of atoms. I will ask you two questions. First question is, what are you seeing now? What is your answer? I'm seeing, no. Now under electron microscope. Okay, what are you seeing now? Billions of atoms. Question 1 is done. Now question number 2. Where is the flower? What is the answer? It disappears. It is empty. It is not there. You getting it? Okay, now tell me that the first question, you get the answer. There are billions of atoms, right? To the second answer, so to the second question, where's the flower? It disappears. Okay, which means the flower disappears. The flower is empty. Emptiness of the flower. On the one hand, billions of atoms. On the other hand, emptiness of the flower. You getting it? So are these two entity-wise one or different? Entity-wise one or different. Okay, let's say this is the object. I'm not going to say this is the billions of atoms. I'm not going to say this is the flower. I'm going to say this is the object. This is the object. Group A, Group B. Group A, looking at through your naked eyes. Group B, looking at through your electron microscope. Right? Okay, I'm holding this object. I'm not saying flower or atoms, whatever. I'm just saying I'm holding this object, right? Okay, Group A, tell me, what are you seeing? Group B, tell me, what are you seeing? Billions of atoms. Be very precise. What are you seeing? Billions of atoms. What about the flower? They say that there's a flower there. Are you seeing a flower? No. What they're saying is they are telling lies. Right? There's no flower. The flower is empty. The flower is not there. Hey, Group B, Group A, what are you seeing? Flower. Group B, what are you seeing? With respect to the flower, right? Flower or empty of flower? Tell me. Group A, what are you seeing? Flower. Group B, what are you seeing? Empty of flower. You getting it? You getting it? Okay. Which of the two is correct? Both are correct. Both are correct, right? Okay. Same. Both are correct. The two perceptions are different, or the two perceptions are identical? Very different. Two perceptions are almost opposites. One sees the flower, one sees the flower disappears, the empty of flower, right? Two perceptions are contradictory, but both are correct. You agree with me or not? Okay. And say, what did you describe group A? Flower. Group B? No. With respect to the flower. Empty of flower, right? Group A. What do you see? Group B? Very good. Okay. Now tell me the two things. The reference of the two labels. Which label? The flower. Empty the flower. The reference of the two labels is the same object or different object? So therefore, what you see as a flower and what group B sees as empty flower, are these two entity-wise one or different? Entity-wise one, but isolated-wise one or different? How different? Because these two are seen as very different. One sees the flower, one sees the absence of flower, right? So these two are very different. When perception-wise, subject-wise, these two are very different. Object-wise is the same. You getting it? Okay, don't forget it. Don't forget it. Now let's say this object. Group A sees this as a flower. Group B sees this as a, again, billions of flowers. Hey, Group B sees this as empty of flower, right? Okay. Okay, let's turn to Heart Sutra. Page 15. Page 15, the last line. What is the last line? Form is empty. Okay, listen here. Now I'm holding this object. I'm not saying that I'm holding the flower. I'm not saying because if I say I'm holding the flower, group B will be unhappy. Because they see that there's no flower there. And if I say that I'm holding the absence of flower, group A will be happy. Group A will be very unhappy because they see that it's not absence of flower. Is this flower? Okay, now tell me. Say group A and group B. Okay, the first line, the last line says here, form is empty, emptiness of form. Form is not other than emptiness, emptiness is not other than form. Okay, don't forget this. Right? Okay, what group, say instead of form, we will replace this by flower. Flower is empty, emptiness of flower. Emptiness is not other than flower, flower is not other than emptiness. Okay, let's replace with this. Now tell me, group A, what do you see this? Group B, what do you see this? Empty of flower. Okay. Now, the first line says, form is empty. The flower is empty. Which means that what group A sees as a flower is what group B sees as empty of flower. Form, the flower is empty. What group A sees as a flower is empty of flower for group B. You getting it? Form is empty. Now, emptiness is form. What group B sees as emptiness is what group A sees as a flower. Emptiness, what they see as empty, is what group A sees as flower. So, emptiness is form. You getting it? Now, what group A sees as flower, what group B sees as emptiness of flower, is it the same object or different object? Same object. So, therefore, what group A sees as flower is not different from what group B sees as emptiness of flower because it's the same object. So that's the meaning of the third line. Third line says, emptiness is not other than the form. What group B sees as emptiness is not different from what group A sees as form because it's the same object. Likewise, form is also not other than emptiness. What group A sees as flower is not different from what group B sees as emptiness of the flower. Why? Because it's the same object. You're getting it? Okay, this is so important. If you understand it in this context, then later on, whenever you recite Heart Sutra, form is empty. So what was the annotation written there? What is the annotation written there? Form is empty. Be louder. What is written there? Pause for a while at this point to meditate on emptiness. Okay, so here, only if you understand these 4 lines the way we learned now, right? Okay, form is empty. What group A sees as form is What group B sees as emptiness. Form is empty. Now what group B sees as empty is actually what group A sees as form. Both are correct. Form. Right? And then what group group A sees as form is not different from what group B sees as emptiness, because it's the same object. Likewise, what group B sees as emptiness is not different from what group A sees as form, because it's the same object. Okay. If you understand it this way, then you relate this to all the things, the miseries that we go through. The miseries that we go through from the point of view of the object, the analysis, ultimate analysis, we see that what we see as form, what we see as miseries is actually empty. Right? Okay. Now, what we see as emptiness of the miseries is what the ordinary people see as miseries. Emptiness is not different from the miseries. Right? And what the enlightened being sees as emptiness, or the ordinary being sees as miseries, the two are actually talking about the same object. So therefore these two are not different. Right? Okay. Ordinary people suffer because they see this as the same object is seen as miseries. Enlightened beings are freed from the pains because the same object is seen as empty of miseries. Right? So this is the benefit of seeing emptiness. One is liberated. Seeing it as miseries, then one is in samsara. Right? Okay. So we'll go more into this. So with this, what I'd like to conclude from what we've learned about entity was one different, isolated one different. For this, the same object. The same object, group A sees this as a flower, right? Group B sees this as empty of flower. And then say two questions. For the first question, what are you seeing? You say, I'm seeing billions of atoms. The second question, where's the flower? What's the answer? It's empty. You're getting it? Okay. So these two things, billions of atoms and the emptiness of flower, are these two entities one or different? Billions of atoms with this flower, with this object, and the emptiness of flower with this object. These two entities one or different? Huh? Entity was one different. How? Huh? Good. Okay. Don't trust my face. Right? Okay. So, where is the billions of atoms? It's right there. And where is the emptiness of the flower? Where the flower disappeared? It's right there. Flower disappeared there. Right? So we point to the same object. So therefore, the billions of atoms and the emptiness of flower, these two are the same entity. These are the same entity. But isolated wise, these two are one or different. Otherwise, these are one or different. Okay, so this we will learn the next part. The next part is positive phenomena and negative phenomena. Right? Okay, positive phenomena and negative phenomena. Let's say. Okay. Let's say, what is in my hand? Okay, some of you, without looking at me, is saying that flower. Okay, there's a flower there, right? There's a flower there. Good. Okay, there's flower. Okay. How do you know that there's a flower there? I can see it, right? Okay, now tell me, what's there in my right hand? Nothing is there. How do you know that nothing is there in my hand? You can see it. How? Is there something known as nothing? How can you see this? Okay, do you see a difference between how you know these two things? What the flowers in your hand, flowers in your right hand, nothing is in your left hand, right? Flowers in your right hand, nothing is in your left hand. Do you see a difference how you know the two things? With the flower, there's an object there. There's an object there. There's an object there, which as though like the object is saying that I'm flower, right? There's an object there, which says that I'm flower. So this is known as a positive phenomena. A phenomena which you know, which a mind knows. Which a mind knows. Okay, first I think we need to define the negative phenomena. First we have to define negative phenomena, then the defining positive phenomena will be easier. Okay, so whereas When I say, in my right hand there's a flower, in my left hand what is there? Nothing is there. And how do you know that there's nothing there? You know that there's nothing there. How do you know that? Is there something which says that I am nothing? There's nothing there, which doesn't say anything. So how do you, is there a flower there? No. So the absence of flower is there? Yes. How do you know the absence of flower? Is there some object there which says that I'm the absence of flower? No. So how do you know the absence of flower? Is by, if there's a flower, then there should be this, something like this should be there. But since that it is not there, so therefore we say there is an absence of flower. In other words, absence of flower, how do you know this? Is by explicitly negating the presence of another object, right? Say you negate the presence of the flower. You negate it. Negate meaning it is not there. You negate the flower. This is how you understand the absence of the flower. So let me say this again. Negative phenomenon is a phenomenon which a mind knows through explicitly rejecting another phenomena. Negative phenomena is a phenomenon which a mind knows through explicitly negating another phenomena. Okay, tell me. The negative phenomenon is a phenomena which a mind knows through explicitly negating another phenomena. Right? Okay, now tell me. What is in my hand? What is in my hand? Nothing is there. Is there flower? No. Absence of flower is there? Yes. And how do you know the absence of flower? I know the absence of the flower. My mind knows the absence of flower through explicitly negating the flower. That I negate the flower, this is how I know that there's absence of flower. So, absence of flower is negative phenomena because my mind knows the absence of flower through explicitly negating the presence of the flower. Right? Okay. So whereas, now what is in my left hand? Flower. And how do you know this flower? Through explicitly negating other, or without having to negate, you know this object directly. Without explicitly negating anything else, you know the object directly. That is known as positive phenomena. So in other words, let us define it as a phenomena which a mind knows without having to explicitly negate another object. A phenomena which a mind knows without having to explicitly negate another object. A phenomena which a mind knows without having to explicitly negate another object. Okay, now tell me, I'll give you some examples and you decide whether positive or negative phenomena. Okay, let's see. The flower, positive phenomena, negative phenomena. Positive phenomena. Okay. The Singapore, positive, negative. Sure, Singapore, positive, negative. Okay, so where do you see Singapore? Huh? On the map. Singapore is on the map. Okay, then Singapore, you can take the Singapore everywhere you travel. Huh? How do you see Singapore? On the map? Huh? Okay. Let's say Wayne-la, positive, negative. Positive. Okay, let's say long life. Long life. Positive, negative. Long life, negative. Long life. Positive, negative. Positive. Short life. Oh, short life is also positive. Okay. Say the flower. Absence of flower. Okay. Now I cannot deceive you. Okay. Now say absence of flower, positive, negative. Absence of objective existence, positive, negative. Negative. Very good. Okay. Now, when you look at this flower, when this object through electron microscope, two questions. What is the first question? What do you see now? What is your answer? Hey. Don't ask me who is Ram. Right? Okay. You are looking at it through electron microscope. This object, you are looking at it through electron microscope. Right? Now what are you seeing? Billions of atoms. Two questions. Don't forget two questions. First one is, what are you seeing? I'm seeing billions of atoms. My second question. What happened to the flower? What's the answer? It disappears. It is empty. You're getting it? Now, when I ask you the first question, your answer is billions of atoms. When I ask the second question, your answer is empty of flower. You're getting it? On one hand, you have the billions of atoms. On the other hand, you have the empty of flower. Okay. Billions of atoms, positive, negative. Empty of flower, positive, negative. Very good, you got it. Right? Now, we see that when you meditate on emptiness, you just subject this to electron microscope, then you see billions of atoms, and the flower disappears. Now it's up to you. You want to meditate on the billions of atoms, or you want to meditate on the absence of the flower? It's up to you. If you meditate on the billions of atoms, you are not meditating on emptiness. Because emptiness is a negative phenomena, and billions of atoms is positive phenomena. You are not at all meditating on emptiness. And then some people, they spend years and years in Himalaya, right? Just meditating on the billions of atoms. The flower disappears, the atoms are there, atoms simply remain there. However, many years they live to meditate, thinking that they are meditating emptiness. They are not. They are just not meditating emptiness. Why they are not meditating emptiness? How do you know this? Because what they are meditating on is a positive phenomena, while emptiness should be negative phenomena. Negative does not mean destructive, right? Negative has many connotations, right? Oh, his thinking is very negative, which means very destructive, right? Whereas the electric pole, right? Electric current, this is negative, this is positive. It has nothing to do with destructive, constructive. It's just a convention. Likewise, when you speak about the phenomena into two groups, positive and negative, it has nothing to do with, say, the healthy, unhealthy, destructive, constructive, nothing to do with this connotation. So from that point of view, emptiness is negative or positive? It is a negative phenomena, right? So therefore, then you meditate on emptiness, then you see yourself in the form of the six elements, and then you just look at the six elements. Oh, the self disappears, now the six elements are there. Then you keep watching at the six elements. Are you meditating? Six elements, positive, negative. Positive, right? So when you're just meditating like this, you split yourself into six elements, then you see the six elements, the self disappears, and you just focus on six elements like this for 2 hours a day. Is this meditation emptiness? Why not? Because what you are seeing is the six elements, and the six elements is positive phenomena, whereas emptiness should be negative phenomena. You're getting it? If you know this positive and negative phenomena concept well, then you will be saved from wasting so much of time. So wasting so much of time thinking that you are meditating on emptiness. In actuality, you are not. Right? One. Okay, now, within negative, there are two kinds. Affirming negative, non-affirming negative. Affirming negative, non-affirming negative. Within negative, there are two. Affirming negative, non-affirming negative. Okay. Let's say that, okay, let's say that you offer me coffee, and I say, I don't drink coffee. I don't drink coffee. Me not drinking coffee, is it positive or negative phenomena? Me not drinking coffee, positive or negative phenomena? Negative? Positive? Okay, it's negative. So, me, you are not concerned about, you are not really focusing on me. You're focusing about whether I drink coffee or not. You already know me. You are not inquiring about me. You're inquiring about whether I drink coffee or not. This is what you're inquiring. So the emphasis should be on whether or not I drink coffee. So, buddy, what is my response? No coffee. So no coffee, is this positive or negative? Is that, Okay, negative phenomena, right? It's a negative phenomena. Very good. It's negative. Now, when I say that I don't drink coffee, right? Then okay. Then you go out to the kitchen. Please bring some Coca-Cola, because Geshe-la is not drinking coffee. Then you drink. Hey, Geshe-la, here's the Coca-Cola for you. No, I don't drink Coca-Cola. But you said you don't drink coffee. There's no relation. If I don't drink coffee, it doesn't mean that I drink Coca-Cola. Right? First you have to ask, do you drink Coca-Cola then? Then if I say no, then you may ask, do you drink tea then? If I say no, then you will say, do you drink juice then? If I say no, then you ask me, do you drink water then? Right? Okay, if you don't ask and bring something else, which means that your sense of positive negative phenomenon is missing. Right? So we have to ask, which means that this label, I don't drink coffee, simply give you only one piece of information. That is, that I drinking coffee is negated, and it does not give any other information. It does not give any other information. Other information you have to ask me. You're getting it? It does not give any other information. So therefore, it negates the object of negation, and it does not affirm anything else. It does not give you any other information. It does not affirm anything else. This is known as non-affirming negative. Non-affirming negative, right? Okay. Say, oh, I have no flower in my house. I have no flower in my house. Okay, positive or negative? I have no flower in my house. Positive, negative? Negative. Within negative, affirming or non-affirming? I have no flower in my house. Okay, how many you say non-affirming? Raise your hands. How many you say affirming? Okay, good. Right? But don't trust my good. Once I was in the retreat, the first retreat we had, and then every time somebody asked me a question, and I would say, very good, very good. Then the organizer, the chief organizer, after a while, they come to sense that people, they were asking just so many questions, and we cannot proceed with the class. So the organizer stood up and made an announcement to the public. Whatever question that you ask, Geshe-la will no doubt say, very good, right? When he said very good, it does not necessarily mean very good. Right, this is what the announcement. Then I thought, oh, that's very true. Right? Okay, I'm not going to give you answer for the time being. Now let us go to the next point. Let me give an example. Say the Singapore's the healthiest Singaporean, the most healthy Singaporean gentleman or the lady, right? The most healthy person, Singaporean, does not eat any food in the daytime, right? Does not eat any food in the morning. The most healthy Singaporean. Of course, keep in mind that he or she is not a yogi, right? Ordinary person. The most healthy Singaporean ordinary person, he or she does not eat any food in the morning. Any food in the morning. Okay, positive, negative. Why negative? Because it explicitly, stick to definition, because it explicitly negates another object. What object it negated? Eating in the morning is explicitly negated. Very good, that is negative, right? always try to go to the definition when somebody asks you why. Always try to go to the definition. Okay, tell me. The healthiest Singaporean ordinary person never eats in the morning. Positive or negative? Negative. How is it negative? Because it explicitly negates another object. What is explicitly negated? Eating in the morning is negated, right? Okay. Now tell me, if you are to host this person, for like say 2 days or 3 days or 4 days, then when will you serve food to this person? Afternoon or evening, not in the morning, right? But you surely serve food, right? You don't ask, do you eat in the afternoon? Do you eat other than the morning? You don't have to ask. Because one, he's an ordinary person. Number two, he's very healthy, means he's eating something. And not in the morning means in the other times he's eating, right? So you will surely serve at a time which is other than the morning. How do you know that you have to serve him or her other than the morning? How do you know this? Because he said that I never eat in the morning. I'm a very healthy Singaporean, but I'm an ordinary person. I am not yogi, right? So I do eat. I don't eat in the morning. So which means that he must be eating in some other time. Maybe it's Jackie who's that. Yes, Jackie?
He may drink in the morning.
Okay. That's good. What I'm saying is when I'm going to serve food, this is my question. When I'm going to serve food, this is my question. All right? Okay. Okay. When I'm going to serve food, in the morning or other than the morning? Other than the morning. So how do you know that he eats the other than the morning? Because the statement made was from there, while it explicitly negates something, it affirms something else. While it explicitly negates eating in the morning, but it affirms another information that he eats in other times other than the morning. You getting it? That is affirming negative. Yes.
Geshe-la, so does it mean that, for example, just now your first example, I do not drink coffee in the morning?
Okay, very good. Okay, that's a good question. I don't know what to do. Okay, so now tell me, I don't know if you come to serve coffee in the morning to me, then I said, oh sorry, I don't drink coffee in the morning. Oh, this is your morning coffee. Then I say, I don't drink coffee in the morning. No? Okay, positive phenomena, negative phenomena. Negative. Affirming, non-affirming. Huh? Affirming. Huh? Depends. Then non-affirming. Okay. Okay. Which hand? Why it depends?
It does not affirm whether it drinks something else.
Coffee. I don't drink coffee in the morning. So, is affirming or non-affirming? Okay, you tell me. So,
Additional information given was in the morning. So other time than morning you drink coffee.
that is the information. Okay, I drink coffee. Okay, you bring coffee in the morning. I say, then you say this morning coffee. Then my response, I don't drink coffee in the morning. Then you drink coffee. You bring coffee in the afternoon, right? I did not say that I drink coffee in the afternoon also. Then you evening, night, I said, no, when did I tell you that I drink coffee? Because you told me that I don't drink coffee in the morning. That's true, I don't drink coffee in the morning. That's true. It doesn't mean that I drink coffee in the other times, right? Okay, so from this point of view, that it doesn't provide any information. But if you know me so well, I add words. I add words only if necessary. Whenever I talk, I'm so economical in my usage of the words. I don't drink coffee. I don't drink coffee in the morning. So I added this word. So if you know me so well, that he is So what economical with the words, right? Only when the necessary he adds, otherwise he will not use words unnecessarily. So I don't drink coffee. He can easily say, I don't drink coffee, right? But today he said, I don't drink coffee in the morning, which means that he must be drinking it other times, right? So that if this is the case, then it depends, that's true. It's a contextual. In this context, with a person who is so economical with the words, right? When he says that I don't drink coffee in the morning, then if you don't bring any coffee at all, whole day, I may become very angry. Why not you bring coffee on other times? And you said you drink coffee in the morning? Yes, I don't drink coffee in the morning, but it's not morning now. Right? Okay. Yes, Zoe. Okay, I don't drink coffee in the morning. Okay, just raise your hands. Anyone who does not drink coffee, who does not drink tea. Okay, right? Yen, right? Yen, same. Zoe comes to serve you, and coffee, and you say, I don't drink coffee. Then Zoe will bring you tea. Then the Yen will become so angry. Who told you that I drink tea? I don't drink coffee, I don't drink tea also, all right? So it does not provide any other information, right? If I say that I am sick, I have to eat, but I don't eat in the morning, which means that I eat on other times, right? So this information given. Okay, where the additional information is given, it becomes affirming negative. Where no additional information is given, it becomes non-affirming negative. You're getting it? Okay. Now, emptiness, affirming, non-affirming. Emptiness, negative, positive. Negative, affirming, non-affirming. Emptiness should be non-affirming, right? So therefore, now look, there are some practitioners who see emptiness as affirming negative. Philosophically, intellectually, philosophically, in the meditation session, they meditate on affirming negative, meant to meditate on emptiness. Is the person actually meditating on emptiness? No, because the emptiness should necessarily be non-affirming negative. Don't forget it. Don't forget it. There are more questions there. There are more debates there. But don't forget, this is the constitution. So Nanda, you have something?
Pertaining to negative phenomena, now all these things that negations is the tangible objects. What about those things like feeling? I am not sad. So if you meditate on not sad, as in, is it a negative phenomenon? Because
very good. So let's say so far we have been dealing with only the tangible physical things, right? I don't drink coffee. Coffee is something tangible. I don't eat in the morning. It's tangible, right? So what about the non-tangible things like feelings? Say, oh, are you sad? No, I'm not sad. Okay, not sad. Positive, negative. Huh? Is a negative because it negates another object. Explicitly negates. This is the qualification. Explicitly. It explicitly negates the feeling of sadness, right? Now, I'm not feeling sad. Okay. Positive, negative. Negative. With the negative, affirming, non-affirming. I'm not feeling sad. Huh? Affirming, non-affirming. Non-affirming. Okay, not feeling sad means, are you happy? Are you neutral? Not sure? Are you neutral or happy? One of these two. Right? Either you should be happy. If you're not sad, then either you should be happy, one choice. Or you should be neutral, or you should be happy or neutral. Right? Right? Third one is true. Right? So now when you say, I'm not sad, it qualifies the third one. Right? So therefore, whether or not this is the affirming and non-affirming negative, this is what we have to discuss. Now, emptiness. Emptiness, affirming and non-affirming? Non-affirming. Don't forget it.
Okay, Geshe-la, I'm just wondering, because you say that emptiness is non-affirming, negative. So, but we do know that after meditating on emptiness, we can come to the realization that it is dependent arising. So, in that sense, there's additional information. So, how is it that it's a non-affirming negation rather than it's a affirming negation for emptiness?
Very good, very good. Okay, emptiness, we are saying that it is a non-affirming negative, right? And this is a constitution. Constitution, you cannot change it, right? But you can debate. You can debate, you cannot change it. You're getting it? Emptiness is non-affirming negative. You can debate, but the Constitution says that emptiness is non-affirming negative. So what we do is that we debate to the extent that we should be able to gain conviction that it is non-affirming negative. You're getting it? This is very important. Okay. Now the question, this question must be solved. If you solve this question, then how the emptiness is non-affirming negative is automatically they are clear in your mind. So the question is, emptiness, 5 points which we learned. Emptiness is nihilism. It is the synonym of dependent origination. How the emptiness and the dependent origination, these are the two sides of the same coin. How? Because of the five derivatives. 5 derivatives. Emptiness means, we learned this somewhere, right? We learned this somewhere. When? 2 years ago? Or maybe Jambi retreat when we were with Lama Selingpa 1,000 years ago? Because it's not too clear now. It has been 1,000 years ago now. Right? Okay, tell me, what are the 5 points? Emptiness. Emptiness is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. And emptiness of independent existence means nothing exists independently. Nothing exists independently means everything exists dependently. Everything exists dependently means everything is dependently originated. Right? Okay. Don't forget this. Okay. Now, from this what we derive was that emptiness means dependent origination, right? Emptiness means dependent origination. Empty of what? Empty of independent existence. When the independent existence is rejected, dependent existence is implied. Right? So when you meditate, empty of independent existence, automatically dependent origination should arise. And dependent origination, positive phenomena, negative phenomena, is a positive phenomena. Now when you negate independent existence, dependent existence is inferred, right? Okay, so now by explicitly negating the independent existence or objective existence, dependent existence or dependent origination is affirmed. If that is affirmed, then after explicitly negating another object, something else is another object is affirmed. That should be affirming negative. So emptiness becomes affirming negative. This is a debate, but the Constitution says that emptiness is non-affirming negative. So we have to know how that this debate does not hold true. Okay, tea break.